Well, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up the football gods. As we sit here, friends, I know it's hard. It's hard because we're so close. We're at the end of June, and come the 22nd of June, the Dallas Cowboys will be on the practice field in Oxnard. The season starts 71 days, 11 hours, 40 minutes, and 5 seconds from right now. We'll be kicking off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the question will be is, what kind of season are we going to have? Well, according to my quarterback, Dak Prescott, Dak has gone through and said, we're going to play more complementary football from defense to offense to special teams, and then we're going to have a healthy team. We've all approached the offseason. We've approached the season the right way. We're just excited. We're excited that hopefully we can stay healthy and we can get fortune on that end. Then we just put everything we've worked hard for together on all stages and all phases of the game. We're excited for this year, and it's going to be a very, very special season for us and the Dallas Cowboy fans. You know, actually, let me. You know, I hope that's the case. I really do. And as I stand here today, just about the beginning of July, I want us to think back for a second to where we were this time last year. This time last year, we didn't even have all of the parts for the team on the field. We were still signing people. Emerson Griffin, we got signed in training camp. Dontari Poe. You know, Dontari Poe couldn't even practice. He was on the could not practice list when he got here. Add to that nobody knew anybody. Seriously, nobody knew anybody on this roster. We had a new head coach. We had a new defensive coordinators. We brought in new position coaches around. The only thing that probably kept us going and the fact that our offense was able to do what it was because Dak Prescott built a football field where he could get the offensive guys, the skill players together and say, we're going to run routes. We're going to work our ass off. We're going to know our shit. You couldn't do that with defense. It doesn't work that way. You know, you always see the running backs and the wide receivers and the quarterbacks out there running routes. It's not like being a linebacker that you can kind of really run routes. You know, it's kind of like you need, 7-on-7 or 11-on-11, and you need to tackle and hit somebody. You can't get that game speed and stuff without actually having a team together in practice. And defenders don't do that. With so many changes, and I want you to think about a lot of the things that happened last year, where it was the perfect storm to end up being a toilet bowl, where that season just got flushed. Zeke Elliott at this time was still recovering from COVID. Zeke Elliott wasn't in the shape that he is right now. La'el Collins was still having issues with his hips. And it was, would he be ready for training camp? Amari Cooper, of course, was dealing with ankles, and that was what happens all the time. You had Tyrone Crawford coming off of double hip surgery, a guy you looked at and said, we need him to be able to play and step up. We saw Sean Lee on the team. And we were now trying to do something totally different. Hang on, guys. I let the dog out because the dog wanted to go out, and now I got to let him back in. Just hold up. Come on, Roscoe's a very old and slow-moving dog, and so he's earned a respect that, you know what, I'll stop my video for you to come on in because I understand standing around on bad legs waiting. So, Roscoe, there you go. we had so many working new parts with this new defense that was coming in, new defensive coordinator, and no chance to try and put it together. Training camp, remember, no preseason games. None, zero, zingo. The first 10 days of training camp were basically fitness. 14 total practices to get a team ready with new coaches, players that just got here, and rookies, and guys coming off injuries. That doesn't bode well for getting the season started. Quite frankly, it's amazing that we won 6 games last year. Had we been in any other division last year, we probably been about a 4 or 5 win team at most. So it is reasonable to think that even if only half of the problems that we had happened last year, only half of them, if we only have half of the injuries that we had last year, we got to be better. You got to think that Dan Quinn, and we're putting a lot on Dan Quinn, but it seems to be night and day difference of his teaching style and actually getting the attention of the players than Mike Nolan. Because the reality is this. If you don't believe something can happen or something's going to work, in your mind, you've already lost it. You're not going to put in work if you're like, well, this is doomed. we got no chance. I mean, this is some whack-ass shit. And that's where we were last year. But guys see Dan Quinn, know that he's been to a Super Bowl. They did lose it, but knowing what he did with the Legion of Boom and getting in there in the trenches and working with them, getting hands-on, teaching them, it seems like those guys, and especially with them being younger, are sponges absorbing all of this stuff here. So I look at it from the standpoint of that of the Dallas Cowboys defense was the worst that it has ever been in the 60 years of the Dallas Cowboys. Is it 60? Yeah, 60 years. 60 years. It was the worst by 36 points. That it has to get better. It has to get better for no other reason of this team now begins to seem like they're a team. I think about when Jalen Smith was talking about the defense was too complex. I think about guys like Clinton Ha-Ha-Dix that were basically throwing shade on the coaching and things like that. And then I hear Aldon Smith, no, it's not that difficult. Well, you were actually in it before, but and the guy gave you a chance who had coached you before. It seemed like we had so many independent contractors, but we had no team. That what I hate on a job is I like to be in charge. I do. I like to kind of roll and have everything together. I like the people that are working there to be under me. Because the problem is if you don't have any authority or any say over them, like let's say you've got framers, you got drywall guys, and then you got drywall finishers and painters. The framers, no, they're getting paid to do the framing. They're going to go ahead and put it up as easy and as cheaply as they can. They might not block the corners so the way it's easy for the drywall. Maybe some of the studs aren't quite 16 on center. Maybe this one, is a little bit tilted, so it doesn't actually split the drywall like it's supposed to. You don't care because the average person looks at it, oh, the framing's done. Okay, cool. It's up. But the guy that's going to come through there and hang drywall now knows, damn, I got to block the corners because he didn't put a stud there. This stud is cockeyed, and so now the drywall is not catching on this one. Now I got to put a block on this one, or I've got to readjust that one, right? And so if you're the guy hanging the drywall and you're getting paid by the sheet, and somebody else's job is to finish it, Well, heck, you might leave a half-inch gap at the ceiling. I don't feel like pushing that thing all the way up there because you're not the one that's going to have to fill in that gap with that compound. That's somebody else's problem. I don't care. That's somebody else's deal. Hey, they missed a tackle? Not on me. He missed a tackle. Me, I'm good over here. And that's what we had last year. There was no accountability for everybody out there. It was everybody just kind of saying, well, that was the framer or that was the coach. Oh, that was the drywall guy who messed that up. That was the safety who missed the tackle. And instead of everybody working together to say, I need the job done so that way we can make the customer happy and get this job done. So I need you as the framers to make the job as easy as possible for the drywall guys. And drywall guys, I need you to make the joints as tight as possible and not make too many holes and cut the outlets the right damn size so we don't have to spend a whole bunch of time in mud and everything else waiting for that to dry around the outlets. Because you care about the next trade. And that is what I feel like we have right now. Even though we've brought in a lot of new guys, Tyler, like Basham, like Urban, that we've drafted a lot of young guys, they've actually had time of working out at the facilities, working with this coach and becoming a cohesive unit and getting to know each other and saying, that's my boy. And that will bode well because last year, none of that took place. You couldn't go to the facility and work out. You couldn't get with your boys. And we had so many different pieces going in so many different directions. Now, we'll see what happens. Every season is a mystery. There's so many times when we've looked at the Cowboys and said, yeah, it was a great season last year. It's going to be a great season this year, which in the NFL, it's one of those things that we constantly do. We constantly look and say, well, Washington won the division last year. They're trending up. They're going to go ahead and, they're going to be a monster team, but then they fall on their face. Our Cowboys team, 2014. Oh, man, they got hosed by the officials. They got it together. They're a Super Bowl favorite next year. They go 4-12. Cowboys, 4-12. They lose Tony Romo. Man, they're going to suck. They go 13-3. The Eagles, in the basement. 2016. The next year, win the Super Bowl. So we don't know what we don't know. And everybody's going to forecast and predict. But from what you've seen from the outside looking in, definitely the Dallas Cowboys are in a much better position than they were this time last year. So that being said, you know what time it is. I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about